You guys know there are literally hundreds of free-to-play game releases on every single month, but at the same time there are a lot of free-to-play games either dead, dying or completely shut down for many different reasons. So yeah, today's video is a bit of a different topic, talking about some of the best free-to-play game releases over the years. But unfortunately right now these games having very low player numbers or completely dead or shut down, and you wish you could play these games in 2023. And also let me know down below if you had the chance to try out some of these awesome free-to-play games back in the day. Alright, first we got a game called Knockout City. I know most of you guys already know about this game, already played this game before. Very popular game back in the day. It was a free-to-play team-based multiplayer dodgeball fighting game, and it was published by EA. The game was initially released way back in May 2021, and at that time it was a paid game with a $20 price tag on it. But the game got actually very positive reviews and holding on to some very decent player numbers for the most part, but majority of the player base completely left the game after a month or so, and almost after a year later developer decided to release the game completely free to play, hoping to gain some new player numbers, which unfortunately didn't happen at the time. The game was peaking around 2500 players and it started to decline again. And back in June 2023, we finally had the chance to try out the game before the servers completely shut down, and unfortunately right now the game was no longer available on Steam. It was a very unique game, but honestly I haven't had the chance to try out the game at launch. I did play the game after it went free to play like most of you guys, but if they somehow released the game initially back in 2021 as a free-to-play game with the initial hype around the game, the whole situation could have been different, but unfortunately it didn't happen. But let me know down below if you had the chance to try out the game yourself. Next up we gotta talk about a very much underrated tactical hardcore first-person shooter game called Argo, and I'm sure most of you guys never even heard about this game until this point. It was a completely free-to-play standalone project inspired by the popular tactical shooter Arma 3, and it was developed and published by, of course, Bohemia Interactive. The game was initially released back in 2017 and it was in my Steam library for a very long time, but honestly I never got to play it because back in the day my PC wasn't good enough to run the game and I kind of missed out on it. And unfortunately back in the end of 2021 the developers announced the game is going to completely shut down, mainly because of the limited support that the game had during its lifespan, and also because of the limited development resources that needed to allocate it into their new project, which is definitely unfortunate. It's definitely could have been a really good option, especially in 2023, mainly because we only have very few good free-to-play tactical shooters out there right now. Royale was one of my favorite battle royale games to play back in 2022, but the story with this game is actually a bit of a weird one. The game was initially announced back in 2022 as an early access title on Steam and was a completely free-to-play battle royale game with a lot of unique and fun gameplay elements, and I personally had a very fun time playing it. And back in May 2023, the game finally came out in early access as a completely free-to-play game, and I remember mentioning this game in one of my monthly free-to-play game videos. And after that something weird happened with the game and developers decided to put a price tag on it, and right now if you want to play the game you have to buy the game for $5. But considering they are still promoting this game on Steam as a free-to-play game, putting a $5 price tag on it definitely confused me, including most of the player base who already played the game. But the good news is if you're someone who already played the game back in the day, or if you add this game to your library, you can download and play whenever you want for completely free. You don't have to pay anything. But if you're a new player trying out the game, you definitely have to buy it, which is definitely disappointing. It's definitely a fun game, but putting a price tag on a game like this, which has a very small player numbers to begin with, it's definitely impact the concurrent player numbers right now having less than 20 players. And I don't think putting a price tag on a game like this, it's not that beneficial for the developers and definitely impact negatively on the player numbers, especially for the newcomers. I would love to know what are your thoughts about the current situation with the game, so go ahead and drop a comment down below as well. And I also want to quickly mention about a couple of games that I already discussed about one of my previous videos, starting with Super People 2. It was an extremely popular free-to-play battle royale game during the 2022 early access period, and I remember back in the day a lot of popular streamers and content creators try out the game and honestly give a lot of positive feedback. And the game had a lot of similarities with the more popular battle royales like PUBG, with third-person shooting, same weapons and weapon mechanics, attachment and loot systems. But after the game came out of the closed beta testing period, it was available for everyone to try out, out, but unfortunately it didn't go according to the plans. The player base was keep declining at the time, and finally the developers decided to completely shut down the game back in August 2023, and right now you couldn't even find the game on Steam. Another disappointing ending for a game that could have been a lot better. The Cycle Frontier was another great game that unfortunately had to face the similar circumstances. This announcement definitely came as a surprise for me as well as for the most players, because the game was actually doing pretty decently well in terms of player numbers, but according to the final announcement from the developers, the game was not financially viable to keep up anymore, and it wasn't generating enough revenue to keep up the service or keep up the development process. I mean, that is kind of the sad reality with most of the free-to-play games nowadays, and something we have to accept. The game was actually got shut down back in last month, and you no longer find the game on Steam. Overall, it was a great free-to-play extraction shooter, and honestly there is not a lot of these type of games available on the market right now, and I hope they will come out with something new, maybe a brand new project in the future. And we finally got to talk about the more popular long-running battle royale game that very recently got shut down on Steam, and you guys might already know, and that is the Ring of Elysium. I have a lot of fond memories with the game, and if I'm not mistaken, this was my first battle royale game that I have played, and the game initially released back in 2018, where the battle royale genre started to get a lot more popular with the releases like PUBG and free-to-play releases like Fortnite. I was not much into Fortnite, but I was playing a lot of PUBG Mobile, which is free, and always wanted to try out the PC version of PUBG, but that cost like $30 back in the day. And at that time, Ring of Elysium came as a surprise for all of us, releasing a more modern day realistic battle royale game for completely free to play, and I remember playing this game a lot with my friends. It was similar to PUBG, but the game had a lot of very unique gameplay elements as well, and I did try out the game few months back, and I made a video about it mentioning that there was not a lot of people playing the game back at that time, and we probably see the end of this game very soon. And unfortunately the announcement happened, and they announced after this September 1st you cannot download the game anymore. If you already had the game, you can play the game until the 1st of December. After that the servers will be shut down forever. Definitely another unfortunate ending, and I know most of you guys already played the game, especially my old subscribers, my old viewers who used to watch my old PUBG Lite content. So definitely go ahead and share some of the memories you have with the game down in the comment section. And that's pretty much wrap up today's video, guys. As always, if you enjoyed the content, go ahead and drop a like on the video, and also subscribe and stay tuned for more content like this. I catch you guys soon in my next video. Stay safe.